Good morning. All righty. Markets are on the move here, and we're just having conversation, chatting in the green room here, just telling those on YouTube that are watching. Discussion is the markets here anticipating that maybe the Fed is going to move tomorrow rather than be on hold. Now that there's been implications by Mr. Draghi of a rate cut there, so does that force the Fed's hand to kind of stay in step? And so got the markets rallying here. Clearly, when our Fed chair suggested the possibility of a rate cut, it got the markets moving big time. Just a huge rally causing that giant green bar to form on the weekly charts. And as we discussed, the markets were in this trading range, and yesterday was just a lot of chop waiting for who knows what. And now we see the news that comes out and it gets the markets moving overnight. So we start the day with the futures here with a nice size green bar, biggest in size over the last week and a half or so, not big in comparison to the move that ignited this move higher, but larger than these. And so now the question is, now that it's run up, looking at the hourly chart, running straight up, you can see the 1, 2, 3 continuation pattern. We'll be talking about that, Dan and I, tomorrow. That'll be the subject of the MT Live 1, 2, 3 continuation patterns, and that's pretty much a textbook one there. There is that resistance that will right to the left. This line lines up with this high right there. So it didn't have that, but one of the other concepts that we'll talk about in more detail, an advanced concept of support and resistance, is when do you a reference point of resistance, such as this one. And in part, you do kind of price act, get the dip, and it's come back up and it's consolidated. In any event, prices got a peekaboo above the pivot high there. And new support reference. We're adding this up here. Got a new reference point of major support. Still a range. We got to see if it can hold above here. But now it's opened the door to running up to this 2960 area, since there's nothing there, and possibly new all-time highs. So we'll see, what happens here at the open. You can see the momentum is stalling here just before the open. The prior hour, kind of it pushed up there, and now it's just chopping sideways, consolidating this initial gain after taking out the high. So we'll see what happens here at the open, how much it pulls back. We got the initial strength. In the context of the weekly chart, really not a big deal. It's holding on to its gain, so in part that's a big deal. But in any event, this looks like it can continue to move higher. And of course, this is a moving bar since it's only Tuesday morning. So this bar is nowhere near complete as to what it may look like on Friday. But right now, this is saying that it's going to go higher, and we'll just assess what happens across different markets. A little bit of confusion here in that we'll take a look, but bonds are rallying here, which means yields are going down, and nobody cares, about the yield curve conversation that got the big correction going at the end of the year. So we got a little disconnect there between markets. Maybe the fact that oil here, but in any event, we'll get to that. The NASDAQ futures just moving up as well. They're up against this prior swing high right there. A little bit of a peekaboo there, but again, there's been some consolidation at that area. Prices tested this once. It backed off. Buyers stepped up on the dip. They came right back up again. And, we'll see how things trade at the open on a smaller time frame than the average. Tends to go down. Does tail bars? Does it go sideways, maybe into the first reversal period? So we got different tools to assess what's happening in these markets. And you can see, as we get closer to the open, in the last couple of hours, momentum has stalled here. Great to see. So the news is out. you know, I guess the most bullish, one of them, well, other than just going straight up, but the news is out, the futures have reacted. What's going to drive them higher here? Others trying to get on board, thinking that it's going to follow through and continue to go higher, sure. But without other news, maybe we're in for another dead day. I don't know, just speculation, but the markets are up. Distance maybe in for a lot of chop. We're just waiting for the actual decision tomorrow. But again, we'll wait and see. We assess what is, and then see what's happening in the moment. The Dow, right, up against here, kind of lagging a little bit. So someone had brought up, I guess I don't know if it was pre-market or I think it was pre-market or maybe in the room yesterday, talking about the Dow and the NASDAQ. And we talked about the fact that at the time the NASDAQ wasn't even above this high and consolidating. So, prior to that, it had shown strength and then it had a deeper pullback. So now its rally is installed at that resistance, whereas, the Dow took out that prior high from that point, and now it's up against this resistance area, which you can see here, it's already reacted to there. So again, different markets at different reference points, and we'll see, what happens here, excuse me, as the momentum stalls and what it does here in the first 5 minutes, 15, 20 minutes or so. So bonds are up a whole point here and breaking out of this range, which, back in May, excuse me, bonds rallying, interest rates going down, it's sitting like that. Now it's like, who cares? So, like I said, a bit of a disconnect there. But bonds breaking out here, after this bullish consolidation, the dip, and breaking out. So, how much or how long can the equity markets ignore the fact that the bond market is giving a bearish signal here? So a little bit of a disconnect, some confusion there as to what's going on. So we'll have to keep an eye on. We'll keep an eye on if the transports are going to turn. In the past, they don't trade much pre-market, but what we want to see is the transports turn this red bar around. If the transports continue to drop and bonds are rallying, I don't think that the equity markets are sustainable, historical norms as to the relationship between these markets, but we'll see. Oil stabilizing down here, so that's a good sign. It's chopping around, and typically a retest pattern like this would have already resulted in a move up. So a little bit of a lag, a little bit of a less than bullish immediate reaction, I guess, backing off. This now consolidation, and oil is pushing up here and trying to join the party with equities, and we'll see what the reaction is here. But so far from the higher time frames, really not a big deal as far as coming off the blocks here, off of this support point, which you can see more clearly on the weekly time frame. And gold popping up here. It's still within this range, but having a good day as this, which more in line with the thought of, the Fed is going to lower interest rates. So, the gold thinking inflationary. On the other hand, again, more confusion. You look at what's going on in the currencies, and while the euro here is just a mess, but it's down here. The pound looks like it, unless it can get turned around here, which means the dollar is showing some strength. So we got some disconnects between the intermarkets, and again, that leads to a little confusion. But we're just looking at the equities, and right now they say they're going higher. So unless something changes really fast, like prices gap up, and we'll watch the gap from the point of view of the spiders and Qs. So 291.50, gapping up, right into this high here. If the first 5-minute bar forms red, or even worse, green, and then prices immediately break down below that, that's going to bring some sellers in. But, we'll just have to assess that and see how it plays out in the first, 5 to 10 minutes or so. The way it looks right now, if it can hold on to that gap, it takes out the first 5-minute bars high. Well, it doesn't have a huge void, but suggests prices are going to continue to move higher. So higher, it's been up here before, as you could see, a couple of times. It couldn't get through. So is this the time? Well, we'll see. I guess we're going to see today and tomorrow if that's the case. Qs, 185, 186-ish. So, gapping up into resistance. So I'd like to see what it does for 5 minutes, 15 minutes or so, ideally. Chop around and then see if it can take off from there. Whether it just starts coming back in again. So a little bit of a wait and see, but at least we got some movement compared to the last few days, which have been pretty boring to say the least. The Qs came out of the blocks yesterday, gangbusters for the first half hour, and then the rest of the day just, went dead. And as you can see, kaboom, right? And then, there at 10 o'clock reversal period, it just went nowhere all day. So stayed out of the chop. So that was good. You get all chopped up. Russell, and where is it? 153, 20-ish. So peekaboo, again, up against resistance. We've got different pictures, somewhat different trends of relative strength and weakness, but what's moving up here across these equity markets is moving up into resistance, a slight above. We'll see if they can hold on here at the open. That's what we do every day. We assess what's happening in multiple time frames. Is there a tradable void? Do we have a pattern? And then what happens in the moment? And then trade it accordingly. So it's relatively simple. Putting the method together isn't getting your head around it and getting the routine, but a lot of it is just based on common sense. Where's support, where's resistance, what's the trend, compare one market to the other, and so on. So we shall see how things shape up today. The news comes out tomorrow, and once the news is out, I guess we're back into anticipating what the next tweet is, or news, or back to worrying about China. But we'll get this out of the way and move along. All yours, Dan.
All right, thanks. Good morning. Yeah, I mean, things like this kind of make it tough where, you're waiting on the news, but the markets don't wait on the news. They like to anticipate. And then, as McGraw said, oh, is it going to be sell the news? I have no idea. I have zero idea. But, we can't be a deer in the headlights. We have tons of open positions, though, so we have not been deers in the headlights. So we'll still trade ahead of it and just, with tighter stops. Let's look at our opens here in the weekly options trader. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 longs. Amazon, look at that incredible 15-minute pre-market chart. That is just textbook. Gap up, range expansion, bullish consolidation in the upper part. Looks fantastic. Lift, looks fantastic. We have a put spread, and then we're trying to get into 2 trades actually in the swing letter. Delta, we did a little put spread yesterday. Greg's Coffee Shop, LK. Look at that beautiful pre-market. Looks great. Roku was a little bit of a problem child. Yesterday or Friday rather, and it's gapping up, looking better. Time decay, we got a Friday put spread, and finally Mohawk, we have a put spread. And I moved the stop to break even already yesterday when it was a little relative weakness. And I also legged into a covered call. So that's swing and options trader. We have a covered call in that. Kim, we're long stock as a core trade. Cody, we're long stock. Had a neutral close yesterday with the doji bar. AIG, long stock. Papa Mike, short stock. And, you know, I wish I just got to it in time. I totally would have said wait for a 5-minute low, but it didn't gap under the entry. I wish it did, because then it would have been invalid. Well, not invalid, but didn't trigger. So with the strength, I legged into a covered put yesterday, which is the opposite of a covered call. We sell an out of the money put to raise our cost basis on the short. DD, we're long stock. FND, long stock. Roku, covered call. Aries, long stock. Sinaf, long stock. Mohawk, I mentioned, covered call. Let me change that in the spreadsheet to a covered call. LK, we have a covered call. Triple W, we're short stock. Looks fantastic. Look, not bouncing with the market. As long as there's no adverse gap against us, it looks fantastic as a short. Calm, I don't like the tail yesterday. I sure hope it's not gapping up here to 41.44, because now this was a sell setup at resistance. Now it's turning into bullish consolidation with yesterday's tail. So he's on probation. BBBY, we're short stock, and I see it gapping up a little there to 12.06. So we'll likely tighten the stop. I like keeping tight stocks, so stops on, you know, these death trend things where the weekly is so darn extended, you don't know where, you know, it's going to make the turn. QGen, I see a little print up here, pre-market 40.40. We're long stock on this. And finally, Travelers covered call, and that's doing its job perfectly, being short the 150s. Let's look at gappers now. Stole here, you know, I think they, you know, gave some financial. Lilly stopped out break even. Clint, both of them, we had we were short stock that stopped out break even, and then yesterday I texted to move the stop break even on the put spread, and right into the close it stopped us out break even. All right, so Stole 25.70, that's a nice bearish gap. So 30, keep 30-minute low. That looks like a short idea. Said G. There were some, JP Morgan upgraded these two little guys in the Solars. Run 1793, a nice, beautiful bullish gap. Daily, weekly, monthly. SPWR. I like this one as a core trade. I'm going to keep an eye on this. Look at this monthly. Look at this. Used to be 160 bucks. And now I know the data is scrunched, but look at that. Multi-year, and here's a little breakdown failure in an area of the IPO lows. This is a core watch for me, folks. We were in it. Oh, and this little pullback right here stopped it. That's right. We got stopped out break even on that one. That's all right. You know, one of my sayings, McGraw, in the stock world is I hold no judgment on the stock. So I don't care if I trade it 5 times. It's not revenge. It's I traded it. I followed my plan. It didn't work. I have a new setup. I'll do it again. Unless it's like really whippy, like Dish, You know, if something has the propensity to say, you know what, I'm not getting bit by that dog again. And Dish was one of them. We bought the breakout this day, and the stupid thing stopped us out in one day. Because see the tail? My stop was under this. It looks so good when this was a wide range breakout bar. So it, you know, it's because of the news. You got tail, tail, tail. So I'm staying away from Dish, but otherwise it's just a new setup for me. And I like SPWR. United Airlines, this is a put spread watch. You know, it's kind of in this really wide trading range on the weekly, but we'll keep an eye on that for put spread. MGI, I read in the journal that it got a, I don't know, $50 million investment. So that's gapping up huge, too big. This monthly McGraw might turn into a 10 bagger, but multiple time frames, we need a daily entry. That's a monster gap. AVY, oh, let me give you all this. I posted it pre-market. I posted that to our subscribers. Look at this BYND. This is totally just reminds me of the internet days. These crazy moves. Look at this, gapping all-time highs. We will short call spreads on this one day. It's just a matter of getting our setup and having tight spreads. Charlie Foxtrot here, long term. I'm watching this on a pullback. WTR is a 1, 2, 3, and if this bar is real, it looks like it's, you know, blasting to all-time highs right now. Pod, McGraw, I like this wide range breakout, and I've been watching it here. Let's see if we can get a setup on that. Lift, we talked about. CSII, nice wide range bar out of a base. I like this one. And look at the weekly. Tomorrow, MT Live is 1, 2, 3 continuations, but the next week is going to be these reverse head and shoulders. And this, it's the flavor of one, you know, because the right shoulder is bigger than this left shoulder, but it's still, look at the quick retracement here and time consolidation. Now I have wide range breakout on the daily. So all 3 time frames here are in beautiful alignment. Keep an eye on that. That looks great. This I actually also posted pre-market. I found, or maybe I did this last night when I was scanning around. A pipe reversal on which one? On the reverse head and shoulders thing? Okay, yeah, you can call it whatever you want. I really don't care. Fiber, nice 15-minute chart here. That's a beautiful, beautiful 15-minute pre-market for a day trade. That's beautiful. That's not identical to Facebook, but I remember yesterday morning, Facebook, I said, looked fantastic pre-market. And I see Amazon making a new high right here. That is a beautiful 15-minute. Remember, we need to get a recording from Trump. If you can do that, Gusta, when you go visit him today in Orlando, say, hey, Trump, can you just give me a quick recording? And say that is a beautiful 15-minute chart. It is very beautiful. 2940. You let it settle down. It's already moving, so you missed it. Exactly. Exactly, Chris. It's funny. So you missed your entry. So I like these better that are resting pre-market and have not gone yet. Right? See the difference? What I say? Look, this one is still at the starting gate. That's what this is a picture of. But look, it's also like a big reverse head and shoulders. Left shoulder, head, deep retracement, higher low above the 20, now gapping up over resistance. It's beautiful. It's huge. So that's step one. Step two is what? Step two is putting it in a little 5-minute thumbnail and waiting to see if it sets up with the futures. Write that down. That's part two. If it don't set up, no setup, no trade. And then, you know, with the big gap in the market, I'm doing absolutely nothing until I see what's going to happen there. Look at CRWD. It's kind of a bear sandwich looking thing. All right, good timing. Look at that, 9:29, and I'm done. Yeah, Tesla. I know some of you were looking at a put spread. Cron, yeah, IPR. Hey, McGraw, do you remember on this day, I think right there, I came so close to giving a put spread, but I said, I need a pullback. I can't do it 4 bars straight up. And look at it. You thought it was extended there at 95 bucks? Well, it's $20, 20% more extended. See, so the first 30 seconds are selling of the market. So let's just chill, check on opens. Let's see. So I'm more